What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV. Back with another live stream today. We'll be looking at all the latest Arsenal news. Lots to talk about today, people. Jack Wilshere, he is back at London Colney. Will he just be there to get himself fit? Or will Mikel Arteta do the unthinkable and bring Jack Wilshere back to Arsenal as a player? He's back on the training ground. I'll show you the pictures. I'll tell you what the managers had to say, and we'll discuss the latest around that. We'll talk about this Newcastle United takeover, the richest owners in Premier League history. Are Newcastle going to become that team that we saw on Goal and Goal 2, Santiago Munez business, people? If you've seen the film, you know what I'm talking about. The fairy tale is underway for Newcastle, the richest owners in Premier League history. And will they become the new Manchester City, people? And should Arsenal be worried? Is this another team that is going to overtake Arsenal while we stand still? Other teams are going to smash transfer records, man. They are going to go big. These owners are not going to mess about, believe me. And also, one of Arsenal's biggest transfer targets is in hot water, people. And I mean seriously hot water. Find out why any chance of Bissouma signing for Arsenal is probably done and dusted, because he is in some serious trouble, people. And we're going to discuss that as well, and all the latest other goings off in the world of Arsenal. Big up to everyone for tuning in today. Make sure you smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Crazy situation, that Bissouma situation, man, really is. And very disappointing to be reading that as well. And there's a few other bits and bobs going on around Arsenal. Another old Arsenal player is being linked to Arsenal as well. And find out who that is later in the show, people. Right, hope you're all well today. Big up to everyone in the comments. See lots of usual faces in here. What was we 3 minutes late? Ah, man, do you know what, people? I just been to record the Talk is Cheap show for this week. And it was actually touch and go whether I was going to get back to even do the show. I was in so much traffic, but we just got here in time. So 3 minutes. At one stage, it was looking like I was going to be about 30 minutes late. So I'm quite happy with 3 minutes, to be honest. I'll take that. Who else is in the comments? Let's have a look. Let's get a few in here. Bissouma. Yeah, Bissouma's in trouble, people. Bissouma, I don't think we'll ever see him playing for Arsenal. More likely to play for Wormwood Scrubs, people. Shaquille said, thank you, Curtis, for the content throughout the international break. I just hate these times when it comes to football. So boring, isn't it? Like, and do you know the worst thing? It's there's another international break next month as well. That's the worst thing about it, you know. I believe after next month, there's no break until the middle of March. So we have got a little bit of a break after this, but we're definitely going to have, there's definitely another international break coming up. So it's not good. It's very boring. I have to admit, I don't particularly like it. While we are talking about international football, though, I am doing the live stream tonight, people, for... Who's playing tonight? Mine's gone blank. Belgium against France. There you go. Belgium against France tonight, people. Big game. Nations League semi-final. I wasn't able to do the other one last night. Italy against Spain. I think Spain won 2-1. I saw the highlights. I was out for that game. But tonight, join me at 7:30. Belgium against France. Mbappe, you know, Kante, Pogba, De Bruyne, Lukaku, heavyweight clash. Join me for that one. Right. Lots of you in the comments. Sports Genius, thoughts on Wenger's proposal of only having one international break and having it 1 month long. 1 month of pure international football. Yeah, I saw that. They're saying basically, I think they said play 6 games in a month and get the whole international period done in 1 month. Could you put up with a whole month of international football mid-season? We'll have to see. I'm not sure the clubs would go with that, being away from their players for a month. But hey, right, let's get into the latest Arsenal news, people. Anyway, That man, Jack Wilshere, is back. He is back on the training ground. And there's a lot of things going off, a lot of comments being made. What is going to happen? You know, we're Arsenal fans, so we're always, I don't know, we're always thinking about the entire situation. On the face of it, this is just an ex-player who's struggling to get a club, who's come back to his old club to train. But we're Arsenal fans. That's too simple for us. That ain't how this works. Every Arsenal fan sitting there thinking, is Mikel Arteta going to end up signing this guy? And the thing is, it's something that you feel like is not impossible because this is Arsenal. This is Mikel Arteta. Granit Xhaka's out for 3 months. Thomas Partey's going to the African Cup of Nations. So is Mohamed El-Neni. That only leaves Ainsley Maitland-Niles. It only leaves Sambi Lokonga. There is a midfield problem about to occur for Arsenal in January. Now, what Arsenal should be doing is going to sign Aouar or some other centre midfielder. But you could just, for some reason, see Arsenal going and signing Jack Wilshere. Maybe I'm thinking too much. Maybe they've got no intention. Arsenal have said here, hey, Jack Wilshere, we're helping Jack prepare and train for his next step while he continues to do his coaching badges. So you can see that they're trying to let people know that he's not necessarily here to be signed. But it just wouldn't surprise me if Arsenal did it. You know, South London's finally said, I love Jack, but no, he is better than Xhaka, said Evan Angel. Hendon Guna said, if it makes no sense, Arteta will do it. And that's kind of what it is. Playing Willian up front against Manchester City, playing Smith Rowe up front against Villarreal, playing Xhaka left back against Villarreal. Those things didn't make sense. So Arsenal did it. So you could see Arsenal doing it. But maybe I'm thinking too much, people. Amal said, I'm climbing the O2 Arena in London tomorrow, Curtis. Good luck with that. Hope all goes well. Enjoy it. Hopefully you get some decent weather. And I have to admit, just as an Arsenal fan, I love seeing Jack Wilshere back in an Arsenal training kit. He's just a proper gooner, isn't he? But let's be honest, and I have to be totally honest here, Jack. West Ham released him because they didn't feel he was good enough. Goes to Bournemouth. Bournemouth release him after 1 year because he's getting injured. They don't feel he's at the standard that his wage level is at. He's been training at a Serie B team and they haven't signed him. Now, apparently it was because of wages rather than the lack of quality. But he's in at Arsenal. And listen, if I'm Jack Wilshere, just purely if I'm Jack Wilshere, even if Mikel Arteta is saying, no, you're only here to train and get fit, I would still be thinking, let me just mash training up for the next 6 weeks. Because let's be honest, one thing you don't lose in football is your talent, is your ability. Sometimes your body doesn't allow you to do things at the same speed and tempo. And I think that's the problem with Jack Wilshere. I just don't think Jack Wilshere's body is made for the Premier League. It's way too intense, way too physical. But at the same time, if I'm Jack Wilshere, I'm thinking, if I can look fit and reasonable for the next month, I've got no doubt Jack Wilshere's got more talent on the ball than Mohamed El-Neni, than Ainsley Maitland-Niles, than Granit Xhaka. He's got more talent on the ball than them. Probably Sambi Lokonga, if you're talking pure talent. We know his body's not really cut out for it. But if I was him, when you're in the building, you've got an opportunity. I remember when I played when I was younger and I'd signed professional, and the manager said to me at the time, he said, listen, I want you to go out on loan to a club 2 leagues below till the end of the season for 6 months. And you'll play every week. And I said, no, I don't want to go there. And he said, why? You're going to play every week? I said, I want to be in front of the manager every day showing you what I can do on the training ground. I know if I'm playing in training against the players you're picking ahead of me every day, and I start showing them guys up and showing you that I'm better than them, you're not going to be able to ignore me. And he was like, I think that's a risk because I think you need to play 90 minutes every week. In the end, I remember one day we had an open training session where the fans are allowed to come and watch. And he picked the starting 11 that had played on Saturday against the 11 that hadn't played. I end up ripping up the centre-back, who was his main centre-back. All the fans are going, what's going on? How come, this guy ain't in the team? 2 weeks later, I was in the team. Sometimes you just got to be in front of the manager. You got to show him what you can do. If I'm Jack Wilshere, I'm thinking I can get a pay-as-you-play deal here for 3 months, 6 months. Pay-as-you-go settings, man. Do you know what I'm saying? Eddie and Ketia business, pay as you go. We're not giving you a contract, no EE business, no 4G, 5G, just a straight little pay as you go, £5 credit on the phone, people. So listen, I love Jack as a player. I class him as a proper gooner. I thought the sky was the limit. I thought his career could have gone anywhere. I thought he was the best centre midfielder in English football. And it is sad where his career has taken him. Listen, I respect Arsenal for allowing him to go and train there. Whether he goes somewhere else and ends up playing, I think it's great for him. He's obviously going through a tough time, struggling to get a club. And I think it will be a good situation for him to get himself fit and put him in the shop window, because the funny thing is, clubs probably didn't want Jack Wilshere a month ago. Jack Wilshere is washed up. But when Jack Wilshere starts training at Arsenal, all of a sudden, it probably looks a more attractive proposition. So a club at the bottom of the Premier League, a Norwich, or a club doing well in the Championship, all of a sudden might go, oh, do you know what? I heard Jack Wilshere's training at Arsenal, and he looks pretty good in their under 23 games. Maybe we'll take him. So that's where I think it is for Jack Wilshere at the moment, to be honest. But listen, I'm sure the players can learn a lot from Jack. If you're Saka, if you're Smith Rowe, if you're Balogun, somebody like that, learn from him, listen to him. He's been through a lot. He's been in your position. He was that young star boy, real star boy as well. Like, I'm talking the best young centre midfielder in English football, boss in Barcelona. So I think it is important to have him in there. And I'm just going to quickly go through what Mikel Arteta said about him as well in his interview. He's done an interview. Big up to Luciano. Thank you for your support as always, bro. Appreciate your super chat. Said, I'm a Geordie Arsenal fan, but can't deny I'm buzzing for the Toon fans right now. I still have a soft spot for Newcastle United. The fans deserve it. Mike Ashley sucks. Opinion Big C. Let me say this, right? And I'm not just saying this either. I as well have a soft spot for Newcastle United for a couple of reasons. One of my good friends growing up was Leon Best, Nottingham boy, lived around the corner. Me and him grew up together. He was at Newcastle and obviously been up to Newcastle a few times, watched them play. Great atmosphere, fantastic fan base, great stadium. Everything is there for Newcastle to become a giant. They just haven't had the owner that's willing to push them. I remember growing up, Newcastle were an attractive team. Asprilla, Les Ferdinand, Alan Shearer. He was brilliant. They're great players. Kevin Keegan's Newcastle were so attractive to watch back then. They just didn't have the owner to take them to that next level. Yeah, Leon Best, scored in the 4-4. The famous 4-0 up and drew 4-4. So the only thing about Newcastle, when you go there as an away fan, they put you right up in the top corner. You can hardly see the game. It's horrible. But fantastic club. Obafemi Martins, Leon Best, throwback, Amiobi, Cisse, all of them, Ginola. Proper Premier League club, in my opinion. So listen, I'm happy for them. I am happy for them. Also an element of kind of, how else do I look at it? I kind of look at it and I think, imagine these guys were buying Arsenal. Imagine we were being bought by these owners now as well, I know a lot of people are... We're going to speak about them shortly anyway. We are going to speak. I've got a few things I want to say regarding these owners as well, because I know a lot of people have said quite a few things about them. But yeah, Newcastle, proper club. Like people are saying, Ben Arthur, Asprilla, Gary Speed, Czech Tiote, rest in peace to those two, of course. Philip Albert. They've had some really good players. Shearer, of course. They're a proper football club. And I think that this could be a problem for Arsenal. I really do. Mikel Arteta's back. It's not quite Mick Ross settings, although I don't know what's going off with him here. Definitely not his best picture. The man looks tired and stressed. It's what a 0-0 at Brighton does to you, man. He said, why Wilshere is training with us again. And Saeed said, big up Curtis, great show yesterday with the judge. Yeah, big up anyone who hasn't seen that. Go and check that out. Lee Judge was brilliant to have him on yesterday. We spoke about a few interesting topics, that's for sure. And it was a great show. Really appreciated him coming on. Let's hear what Mikel Ross has got to say. He said, we all love Jack. We're happy to have him around, and he is a big part of our history. And he says, he was asked, such is the way of football, there will be speculation that a former midfielder could be set for a fairy tale return. So what's the truth of the matter? I'm sure we're going to get a political answer here rather than a straight yes or no. He said, what you should believe is that we want to help Jack prepare for his next stage physically, mentally. He wants to do his coaching badges again, and we are prepared to fulfill all the needs that he wants. That is basically the idea, and it is no further than that. I mean, to be fair, he is shutting it down a little bit there. I'm very happy to have him back. We had a conversation with Jack and understand the needs that he has, the period that he is going through, and I think everyone at the club agreed it was the right moment to help him. We sat down with him and we listened to what he wanted to do and what stage he is, and we are prepared to do anything we can to help him. What do you make of that? I do think he's pretty much closing the door there, because he does say that is basically the idea and it is no further than that. I still think he's left the door slightly open. Not really, but just a tiny bit. He's saying that is basically the idea. I don't think he's completely closing the door, but sounds very unlikely. SB said the studio time is tiring him. I'm telling you, he can't take all these interviews. Robbie World said, can I train with Arsenal? Listen, it looks like it's open training session during the international break. Anyone can go there. Mikel Lasso settings. Listen, what I will say, while Jack's there, and listen, just from my point of view, people, I don't think Jack Wilshere should sign for Arsenal. I don't think we should bring him back to play. I don't think he's physically up to the level. I wish he was, because it would be a fairy tale for Arsenal to bring Jack back. I remember when Man United let Paul Scholes go a couple of years later, he came back and started bossing it. But I just don't think physically he can deal with it. Jay Dime said, would you take him over Xhaka? I mean, realistically, like I said, Jack Wilshere's probably a more talented footballer than Granit Xhaka. The reality is, I don't think he could play, although saying that, Xhaka's out for 3 months. But I don't think that Jack Wilshere could deal with the speed and the physical demands of the Premier League. He's just not that player anymore. So, listen, gets a chance, gets in the door. I'm sure he'll play some under-23 games. Great experience. Hopefully he gets a move from it. Ben Brown said, one last dance. Oh, man, can we get one last dance out of Jack Wilshere? But I have to admit, I don't think it will happen. But I do think it's fantastic seeing a player like that back on the training ground. And I hope he gets a good move out of it. Hope he passes on some of his knowledge, experience. Sports Genius, I've said this many times. Jack Wilshere, for me, go to the MLS. Nice lifestyle, great country. A lot of players have gone from the Premier League and gone there in their, early 30s, mid-30s and done well. And certainly less physically demanding than the Premier League. So some of you are saying you would take him, give him 6 months. The problem is we played him at DM, play him at cam and centre mid and get the most out of him. I mean, he's probably not no slower than Xhaka, that's for sure. Curtis, looks like Bissouma won't be joining anytime soon. Yeah, he's in talks with Wormwood Scrubs, I think, about a permanent transfer. Make sure you smash a like on this video, people. Smash a like. Over 1,000 of you in here. Subscribe as well if you haven't already. Big up to Alfred. Hope you're well, bro. Thank you for the super chat. Said Jack would be that goal-scoring 10 you wanted. Would he? I don't know, man. I'm not sure. I'm just not sure. He definitely picks them pockets. You got to understand, this ain't the Jack Wilshere that even left Arsenal. Never mind the Jack Wilshere at his prime. It's not even the one that left. I would imagine he's levels below that even now, physically. He's had a couple years of not really playing too much football. Aaron said, Curtis, I honestly believe that Arteta has got January in mind as we'll be losing a few midfielders to the African Cup of Nations. If he trains well, it will save Arsenal some money. Yeah, and that's my worry in a sense, because on one hand, it makes no sense. Probably not at the level anymore, physically, mentally. Had a couple of years where he's really struggled. But on the other side, everything about the deal will make sense to the club in a certain way. He'll be cheap. You get him on pay as you play, which means you don't even have to pay him if he doesn't play. Knows the club, knows the league. Fans love him. Arteta loves him, former teammate. Covers you short term while Partey, El Neni are away, Xhaka's out. And this is where my concern is, that Arsenal would consider it. For me, listen, we'll have to go on how he does in training, but for me, he's not that guy anymore. But listen, like I said, love the fact he's at the club. Great to see. And let's see how he does from here, people. What are your thoughts on it, just quickly before we move on? Would you take Jack Wilshere back on a pay-as-you-play deal? Is it fairy tale business and that's just long gone and Arsenal need to go and sign a midfielder in January? What's your thoughts? Andrea says, big up, Big C, respect. I totally agree with you. I don't think he's fit for the Prem anymore. I agree with that. Not Arsenal anyway. Wilshere as a DM. Adel Taarabt made the transition at Benfica. Yeah, he did well there. Omar said, nah, just sentiment. The Copper said, yeah, pay as you play. Ashley still not happy with Mikel Arteta. Penalty Spot said, pay as you play, nothing to lose. C Law said, no, he was overrated in his prime years. Interesting. Wilshere is past his sell-by date. No more of the sentimental FC settings, I hear you. Mbappe free next summer. Alfred said, appreciate the super chat, bro. Said, not playing much could be a blessing. His body is rested. At 29, he's probably got the mileage of a 25-year-old, really, just as a squad player. Interesting that some of you would take him. Alvin, big up, bro. Said, I'm just tuning in on your stream while I'm at the gym working out. Big up, bro. The kid said, Wilshere is a crap footballer, Curtis. He got let go by small clubs because he isn't good enough to play for them. Harsh, but maybe the truth. I wouldn't be as damning as that, but I hear what you're saying. Would take him as a coach, nothing else. Jeez. Jack is mainly training with the under-23s, working closely with Per Mertesacker to obtain his football badges. In that sense, would make sense. Definitely for me, Jack Wilshere. I think the MLS, go to the MLS in my opinion. Even the Championship, I think, was too physical for him. Richard Reed said, big up, Big C. Jack may not be the player we want or who he was, but if it's pay as you play, maybe it could work out for both if he gets fit. Andrew said, the sheep want Jack. He can do a job on the cheap and he's more committed to Arsenal than most players who think they are doing Arsenal a favour. And I hear you on that, people. Thank you for your input. Jack Wilshere back at Arsenal in training. And I have to admit, I enjoyed seeing the pictures. Right, let's move on. Arsenal have got enough problems going off in the Premier League right now. We're desperate for a takeover. We want more ambition, despite the fact we spent 150 million in the summer. There's still gaps that need to be filled in proper manners. And Newcastle United have been just about to be completed, the takeover of Newcastle United. And some of the stuff that I'm reading regarding this takeover is extraordinary. Newcastle United, a team that are owned by Mike Ashley, the sports direct owner, who, most Newcastle fans can't stand him. He didn't. This is how bad it was, right? Newcastle agreed a deal on deadline day to sign Hamza Chowdhury from Leicester. Leicester waived the loan fee and said, you don't even have to pay a loan fee. All you've got to do is pay his wages, 30 grand a week. And Mike Ashley said no. And this is, at this point, this is when they said Steve Bruce was considering leaving the football club. All of a sudden, they've been taken over. This will be the biggest takeover in Premier League history. And all of a sudden, Newcastle, the fairy tale could be about to begin, people. I just want to show you this this stat, which is phenomenal. And just to give you a look at the power of this owner. This is the top 10 owners in the Premier League. This is their worth. Now, Manchester City have spent over £1 billion on Manchester City when you include the training ground. I think they bought the rights back to the stadium. They built a bridge to connect their ground to the training ground over the road. They got a new stadium. Obviously, all the players, Pep Guardiola, their owners are worth £23 billion. Sheikh Mansour. The Newcastle owners are worth £260 billion. Alfred said, no crap, club, don't play football, just kick and run. Oil Castle United, as someone just said. I mean, I can't help but have a little bit of like, wow, imagine they were buying Arsenal. Like this is going to be like playing Football Manager and putting the cheat code on where your owner just constantly throws money at you. It's absolutely unbelievable. Mohammed bin Salman is the Prince of Saudi Arabia. Their family, their Saudi consortium, they are the royalty of Saudi Arabia. They are worth £260 billion. How on earth, number one, when you're that rich, no disrespect, why do you buy Newcastle? Why do you not think, do you know what? Let me go and buy Arsenal. You could probably buy Arsenal for £3 billion. Let's be honest. Daniel Ek was offering £2 billion. I think if you offered £3 billion to Stan Kroenke, he would have probably sold the club. But they're buying Newcastle and they've got £260 billion to spend. It is unbelievable. It is the biggest takeover in Premier League history. What is it going to do to Newcastle? $250 billion, people. $250 billion. Now, the interesting thing, and I'm reading a few reports surrounding it, just to give you a bit of context, people. They're saying they want to make a marquee signing this summer. They want a marquee signing that they then hope will lead to them being able to build the club. Number one, I'm trying to think, what big player would go to Newcastle? Because if you go there early, it's a bit of a risk. Because you're going to think, okay, well, it's a new project. If it doesn't work out in a year, maybe he offloads Newcastle. But the thing is, he's got so much money that I feel like it's going to work, because he can throw $2-3 billion at Newcastle. It's like pocket change to him. It's nothing. Lewandowski, there were rumours that the first signing was potentially going to be Gareth Bale. I mean, how big an impact would that have? I don't know. I mean, the thing is, the Northeast is, listen, a great part of England. It's a nice city. I've had some great nights out in Newcastle. Anyone who's ever been out in Newcastle before, tup. I've had some good nights out of there. It's a vibrant city. But the weather's not great up there. It's far from London. It's far from Manchester. Would big players want to go up there? I'm not sure. Aubameyang, honestly, these kind of players are not impossible for them to get. They're chasing after Conte. Listen, and I read that as well. I did read that they want a world-class manager. I'm telling you now, Antonio Conte out of work, if they offer him what he wants and give him a massive amount of money to spend, he would probably take that. People saying Harry Kane, Aubameyang would be perfect. Kane, Aubameyang could buy an actual cheetah once there. They can take Aubameyang and Lacazette. They will get some decent players. Sterling, Haaland, and Mbappe front three. I think a player from Barcelona, Dembele, Coutinho. I think they could get Coutinho. I'm not going to lie. This is a project for Conte. Big C, it's an investment fund. These values go up and down. The owner's net worth is about 30 to 50. Listen, even if it's 30 to 50, it's still more than double, if it's as close to 50, the Manchester City owner's level. Something I wanted to ask is, as an Arsenal fan, does this takeover affect Arsenal? Because I'm looking at the Premier League now and I'm going, these clubs are going to start targeting Arsenal and Tottenham and teams like that. They're going to say, okay, maybe for now, they can't catch Man United, Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea. That's going to take years to get close to that. But I think they'll be looking at your Tottenhams, your Arsenals, and thinking, have a good transfer window. You can overtake them. Let's face it, they've got a few decent players. Any hope of St. Maximin being signed has probably just gone out the window. They'll treble his wages. I think he's on about 60 grand a week. They'll offer him 150, get him a nice new Gucci headband. You've seen them headbands he wears. So all of a sudden, the guys who you thought you were going to cherry pick, Joe Willock's probably loving life. He said, yeah, I got out of Arsenal, gone to Newcastle, owner's worth 260 billion, quick quarter of a trill. You know what I'm saying? New contract. The money's there. People will leave people. People will leave. Arsenal still has London attraction. Do you know what? I think the London attraction thing, it is still something, but I think it's weaker than it was like 5 to 10 years ago. Do you know what I mean? I think now these guys are so rich, I don't think it bothers them that much now. A friend of mine used to play for Celtic, and he lived in England. He lived in the Midlands, and he would fly home some days and just come home. They finished training at 12. He'd be on a plane by 1:30, 2 o'clock. He'd be back in the Midlands within 40 minutes, 45 minutes. You know, I don't think London is what it used to be in that sense. Like, oh, listen, if I come to England, I can only go to a club in London. I don't think that's the same thing anymore. Look at Manchester City. Manchester's a vibrant city, you know. And when you're rich and you're living life, like you said, and it's no joke. These men could turn Newcastle into a mini London. These men could go and throw money into the area. If you look what Manchester City have done, they've built training grounds. They've built businesses around, the ground. You know, they will pump loads of money into Newcastle as a city, not just a football club. Captain Sal said London is starting to lose its appeal now. I just don't think it's the same thing anymore. Like, I need to be in London. I don't think that applies as much anymore. Nick said, of course, it makes life harder because we have another club with more financial power than Arsenal. We're being left behind as it is, and this takeover will only make matters worse. Zlatan is an interesting one. And like I said, people, this Antonio Conte story is out there today. I'm reading that Antonio Conte and Gareth Bale are two of their first targets. And the interesting thing about this, when you look at this table, people, at least we're in the top 4 for something, is we have the 4th richest owner in the Premier League. Now, I know we spent 150 million in the summer, and certainly this summer, we can't complain about the money spent by the owner. What I will say is, how frustrating is it when you look at this table? Manchester United have the 9th richest owner, 4 billion. Our owner is worth 7 billion. Yet Manchester United spend way, way, way more money than Arsenal. Yet our owner is worth more than their owner. That's where the frustration comes from with Arsenal. It's like, okay, you spent 150 this summer, but we needed 150 when we won the FA Cup and Alexis Sanchez was on fire, and you bought Peter Cech that summer and didn't buy anyone else. Or what about Emery's first summer when you gave him 65 million and he bought 5 or 6 players? You know, he needed 150 then. What about the second summer when he said, I want Zaha, Fabinho? He needed 150 then. It's almost as if he's given this 150 out as a last resort. Like, here, you're desperate, now have the 150. You don't build from a position of weakness. You build from a position of power. That's how you maintain success. When you're doing well, you invest to keep yourself up there, to maintain, to go even further. Arsenal have spent 150 at a time where we're literally on the floor. So the 150 has been like a drop in the ocean to this Arsenal team, that we don't even look at our team and think, wow, we've spent 150. We look so much better than last season. We needed a lot more than 150, you know. Maybe we needed 150 on 2 players, 2 superstars. But anyway, time will tell. But it's very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. And like I Am the Best said, Liverpool's owner's not even in the top 10. Yet they're one of the best teams in the country. They've won the Champions League and the Premier League in the last 2 years. And that's due to people like Mikel Edwards and the ability to invest properly, the ability to sell properly. How many players have Arsenal lost over the past 2 or 3 years for nothing? When you put it into context, people, Jack Wilshere, Danny Welbeck, Mesut Ozil, Alexis Sanchez, Aaron Ramsey, Socrates, Mustafi, we're about to lose El Neni, Kolasinac, and Ketia and Lacazette this summer. That's over 10 players, people, that we haven't earned a pound from. That should be 100 million back in the kitty. But the self-sustaining model, we don't seem to know how to use it. And this is the problem. This is why we're stuck where we are at the moment. Static said, hey, Curtis, if this happens, Arsenal won't catch up to Newcastle. However, that can be avoided if Arsenal fans demand more and demand better. This is what I'm saying, people. We can't sit there and think that, oh, everything's going smooth. You know, we won a few games, 10 points out of 12. Everything's rosy. You can, to me, you can turn around a football club in 1 or 2 summers if you invest the money properly. You've seen it. You've seen it. Klopp went to Liverpool. They had people like Ricky Lambert. The following season, they got top 4. The next season, they got Champions League final. They weren't even spending as much as Arsenal spent because the investment was right. They sold players and reinvested it. But we're not selling people. We're not getting money. Well, Lacazette cost 50 million. He's going to walk for nothing. Again, another player that should have been sold. So this is going to be another problem. What I will say for Arsenal people is that I don't think this suddenly just blows up overnight. You know, I don't think Newcastle all of a sudden next season are in the top 4. You know, you may not be able to attract players in the first summer, you know, or you may get older players who are at the back end of their career. So I do think this will take a couple of years before it really kicks in, but it will kick in. These guys are so rich. I can't see these guys coming to England and playing games. You know, you don't get that rich if you mess about in business. They're going to come here. They'll build an elite training ground. They'll sign big players. They'll throw massive wages at people, and they will try and make it work. And Arsenal need to fix up. They really do. They need to fix up quickly, people. So interesting times for Newcastle, man. Interesting times. They are living the dream right now. That oil money. And listen, one thing I want to say, and I missed a comment, and I don't want you to think that I'm ignoring it, is, well, first of all, you're talking about Klopp there, and I agree with that. And I've said this many times. An elite manager and a quality technical director can still work under an owner that doesn't invest huge amounts of money into a football club. So everybody always says Kroenke doesn't invest enough. No, he does invest money. The problem is he hasn't got the right people looking after the money. He's had your Gazidis, your Raul Sanellis, your Sven Mislintat, your Edus. If you have a quality technical director who invests that money in the right way, things can work. Liverpool's front three, Firmino, Salah and Mane, is less expensive than Arsenal's front three of Lacazette, Aubameyang and Nicolas Pepe. Only Manchester City have a more expensive front three than Arsenal. We have the second most expensive front three in Premier League history. 46 million for Laka, 56 for Aubameyang and 72 for Pepe. Yet we're getting nothing out of these players at the moment. That, to me, is down to the manager and maybe poor investment. Should have been maybe Zaha and people like that. So we're going to have to see. Arsenal need to wake up real quick, standing still while other people are moving. 2 more stories before we get out of here, people. It's not the longest of shows today. I will be back tonight at 7:30 for the Belgium against France Nations League semi-final. So make sure you join me for that. The other comment that I was just going to say there, was people were talking about the Newcastle owners and some of the things that they have apparently done and crimes they've committed in the past. And I'm just going to put it like this. And I don't want to get too deep into non-footballing matters. Most billionaire owners, not all, by the way, I don't want to throw this at everyone. Most billionaire owners have probably done something that is illegal at some stage to make that kind of money. Now, it doesn't make any of it right. It really doesn't. I'm not justifying any of it because I've read some of the stories around these owners and they are shocking, and I will never, support any of these crazy things. What I will say, let's not forget that our own owner, Stan Kroenke, was trophy hunting animals, killing animals. And this guy also was sitting side by side Donald Trump during his election campaign. So let's not pretend our own owner, hasn't got dirt on his hands at some stage. This is the reality, people, of billionaire owners. And listen, like I said, two wrongs don't make a right. I'm not defending any of it. What I'm saying, a lot of these guys have got dirt on their hands. Do you know what I'm saying? A lot of these guys have got dirt on their hands. So that's all I'm going to say on it. I don't want to get too political on it. And I know some of what some of them are doing are way worse than what some of the other owners are doing. It's all wrong, in my opinion. But you're going to find it very hard to find a billionaire owner with big money that's got all of that money, in an upstanding way. Let's just put it that way. Right, we've got two more stories before we finish off. And one of them, boy, this is a dirty one as well, people. Very bad story, this. A major Arsenal target, Yves Bissouma, handcuffed and arrested. This is a horrible story. He was in a nightclub. And what I will say is, allegedly. I think it's very important I use the word allegedly, right? Hasn't been charged for this yet. So I don't want to start saying that these are facts. Yves Bissouma was arrested on sexual assault charges in a nightclub in Brighton, accused of, allegedly, right? This is all I'm going to say. Him and a friend, I believe. And listen, when you have stories like this, you're never going to see this guy in an Arsenal shirt. Let me tell you that. So any chance of Bissouma ever playing for Arsenal is probably out the window. Yeah, and listen, for me, if he's found guilty of this, career done, career finished, and rightly so. If he, as I say, if he is found guilty of it, career mash up, finished, done, and deserved. Because if the man's doing these kind of things, you get all you deserve, man. What kind of madness is going off with these Premier League footballers, man? The man said Prison FC could be challenging. Jeez, you got Mendy at left back. What the hell's going on? These footballers, man, some of them more money than sense. Absolute more money than sense. But as you're saying, people, if true, career could be done. Career done. Mash up. Finished. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. I don't know too much about the story. Just what I've read in the report. I know it came out last night. They weren't sure who it was. A lot of people were saying it was Bissouma. It has been confirmed that it is Bissouma, 24 years of age. Listen, and like people are saying, whether he is found guilty of this or not, the allegation alone throws huge amounts of dirt and shame on his name. So yeah, it's one. Listen, I don't want to say too much on it. It's a very awkward thing to talk about, and I don't want to, I don't want to say anything too much without him being charged or whatever. Apparently, he was with friends, so is it him? Was it the friends? I don't know. And as I say, and I always say, I hate sharing any news that comes from the Sun newspaper because they are a disgrace of a newspaper themselves. Do you know what I mean? And the things they've done. So I think the less said about them, the better as well. So yeah, Bissouma, what is going on with these footballers at the moment, man? It's crazy. So yeah, not a good one. Not a good one at all, people. Not a good one at all. And just the final one. And this is another midfielder who's not in hot water. But listen, while we're getting the team back together, Jack Wilshere's on his way back to Arsenal. Let's just bring them all back. Let's get the group back together. It's like JLS, people. Like, take that. They've been broke up for years. You know when a group breaks up and, they disappear for years. And after about 5 years, they all, we're struggling for money. Let's do a comeback tour. Let's get them all back, people. We'll have a midfield. We'll get Cazorla back as well from, where's he playing? He plays for Xavi's team, I think. Juventus are ready to listen to offers this summer for Aaron Ramsey, with his contract with the Italian Giants due to expire at the end of next season. It's believed they are willing to even allow him to go on loan in January just to get him off the books. Take that settings, JLS settings, the whole group, get them all back together, people. Let's go back to 2015. You know the question I'm about to ask you, people. You know the question. I can see you already giving me the answer. Would you take Aaron Ramsey back at Arsenal? I'm asking the question. Would you take him? Could be available on loan. I said the other day, the funny thing is, we haven't actually replaced Aaron Ramsey since he left the football club. We don't have a goal-scoring midfielder. Now, I used to have, when Ramsey was at Arsenal, I used to have a lot of debates with one of the guys who used to sit next to me in the North Bank. A lot of you lot are not interested. I wasn't the biggest Aaron Ramsey fan when he was at Arsenal. Got to be honest. He had great moments. He scored important goals, but I thought he was very inconsistent. He was injury prone. One week he looked like a world beater. The next week he looked shocking. He used to do Cruyff turns all the time. It's like he believed his own hype too much. But could be available on loan. Would you take him? Most of you are saying no, and I tend to agree with you. But I like Ramsey, but no. On loan would be okay, said Guna8. Nearly all of you are saying no. Ramsey to Newcastle, yeah, that one could work. Go and get. I mean, he's on 250 grand a week, basic, 400 grand a week with bonuses. People, the deal, the contract, I mean, is absolutely incredible. Yo-Yo said Rambo suffered for Wenger forcing Ozil into the team. Interesting that nearly all of you are saying no. Hardly any of you want him back. Hendaguna said, get the party animal Denilson back. Get them all back. Where's Andre Santos? Get him back. Shamak, we'll get them all. He's on 7 million a year. Now, I have to admit, at the time, I never understood why Juventus did that. I know they actually like free transfers, but to give Ramsey 250 a week, 400 grand with bonuses, why would you give Aaron Ramsey 400 grand a week? Such a frustrating player for me, and that deal has literally made his career. Sanchez, Ramsey, Wilshere reunion. Oh man! Apparently, Ramsey and Alexis Sanchez didn't get on at Arsenal. That was something I heard a while ago. Andrew Gasser said yes to Jack Wilshere, no to the ham roll. Man like ham roll Ramsey, you know. If they can get on a player's back, it will have to be Sanchez. Sanchez available on a free as well in January. We could get Sanchez on a free, Wilshere on a free, and Aaron Ramsey on loan. Neil's for it. He said, Curtis, if he takes a pay cut, then yes. I mean, you can get him on loan. You don't have to even pay all of his wage. I'm sure he'll sit on that contract and just chill until the end of the contract anyway, to be honest. He's got another year left on his deal. He's made, to be honest. He's done well for himself to get that deal. I never thought he was good enough to go and play for Juventus, to be honest. But just interesting that since Aaron Ramsey has left, he is a player that we have never replaced. We still don't have a goal-scoring midfielder. And the one who we got close to making was Joe Willock. And he, of course, has gone to Newcastle, where all the money is now, people. Living life. Get Curtis Shaw back, Mansfield Town settings. I'm ready, man. I'm telling you, I'm fit, I'm sharp, I'm ready to go. You know what I'm saying? They might sign Bale. Yeah, they're definitely being linked with Bale. Coutinho, I've seen his name banded about, and apparently they want Antonio Conte as well. Bring back Wenger too. Why not? He'll probably do better than Arteta, let's be honest. I wouldn't actually want him back, but I do think he would do better than Arteta. Can you imagine Arsene Wenger with Pepe? You know, an attack. He was always good with attacking players. Imagine him with Pepe, or imagine him with William Saliba. You know, I feel like he'd get a lot out of those kind of players. Neil, a lot of people are asking for Gnabry. Gnabry did an interview where he said if he leaves Bayern Munich, he'd love to come back to the Prem. He felt he had unfinished business in the Prem. And he said his first choice would always be Arsenal. So now a lot of people are saying, get rid of Pepe in the summer and get Gnabry. I mean, it's not as simple as that. But if that could happen, I would love to get Gnabry at Arsenal. I can't lie. Wenger with Martinelli as well. I think, again, another player that I think he could really get a lot out of, to be honest. Mbappe, Zidane, and Coutinho. I don't think they could get Mbappe. But Craig said, Curtis just got home. What have I missed, bro? They know what? We're just about to wrap up. I'll leave you to look. But obviously, Jack Wilshere back in training with Arsenal. Newcastle Takeover. Bissouma in hot water. Aaron Ramsey available on loan. That's about it, my friend. That is about it. Listen, people, I'm out of here. 50 minutes we're approaching. Broads, yeah. Oh, man, geez. It's not quite the dizzy heights of the past, is it, Broads? You know what I'm saying? But listen, big up to everyone for tuning in. Shorter show today, 50 minutes. I will be back at 7:30 tonight. Belgium against France. Nations League semi-final watch-along. Looking forward to that big game. Someone said Kante is injured. But still the likes of Pogba, Benzema, Mbappe, Hazard, Lukaku, De Bruyne. It's going to be a massive one. Join me at 7:30 tonight. Make sure you like this video and subscribe. Check out yesterday's video with Lee Judges as well. USA v Jamaica watch-along, which I believe... I'm just trying to check what time kickoff is. Listen, bear with me, people. That one's not impossible. We may do that one. We may do that one later on tonight. I'll see how I feel after this Belgium game. I will be watching that game. And I may even do a boxing watch-along this Saturday as well, people. Fury against Wilder. It is on at 5 o'clock in the morning, UK time. But I may do that as well. Let me know if you'd want to see that, if you'd be interested in a boxing watch-along. But yeah, I may do the Jamaica-USA game. 12:30 UK time, apparently. So, yeah, I may do that. Mikel Antonio settings for Jamaica. Join me tonight, people. 7:30, Belgium against France, and maybe Jamaica, America later on. Enjoy the rest of your day, people, and I will see you soon. Bless.